Year is nearly over. Where has it gone? Okay, so it's fantastic to be back here this evening to talk all things colour, but it's certainly, it's a great opportunity to ask any questions that you do have around products and certainly around projects. So I'm Fiona, I'm the Taubmans Colour Specialist. I'll let you know how our sessions happen. So for the first half an hour, I'll be in front of the camera streaming live, as I just said, to answer all of your questions. And it's a great opportunity to pop anything that you do have into the feed, and we'll do our best to answer them live. So if you've got any questions on colour, we're here to help you with some great colour advice. If you've got any questions on projects that you're embarking on, we can certainly do our best to help you with some advice on those. And also too, look, we have a wonderful portfolio of products that have been designed to protect and beautify your space. And we're talking Taubmans tonight, so you've come to the right place, and we'll be very happy to give you some advice on some of our wonderful products that we do have available to help you bring your projects to life. So now's a great time. Pop any questions that you do have into the feed, but if you do have any images that you'd like to share with us, if you can hold off sharing images only until after we finish streaming, because for a further half an hour or so, I'll be behind the computer and I'll be available to answer further questions and certainly look at your images. So while we are streaming live, it's impossible to upload any photos or images. So hold off until we finish streaming, but certainly start popping your questions into the feed, and I'll be very happy to answer them for you. So tonight's all about exterior. And we've got a little bit of a, I guess you could say a little bit of a lesson plan to take you through, if you're embarking on an exterior project, I'll give you some tips to where to start. And I'll also show you, we've just launched our 2024 colour forecast, which is titled Equilibrium. And I'm going to show you where you can find some fantastic advice on what colours you can use where, and primarily exterior this evening. However, I know I'm talking about exterior, but you know what? Pop any questions into the feed regarding interior as well. Don't let that deter you. Okay, so I do have my first question, and this has come from Brittany Pierce. Thank you, Brittany, for joining our session. And your question is, we live near the rainforest in a very high rainfall area. Mould is inevitable no matter how clean we are. What tips and colours would you What tips and colours would you suggest to keep exterior walls looking fresh as long as possible in these conditions? Okay, so I think there's some products out there that can certainly help you to eradicate mould, if you like. So we've got a fantastic product I would recommend. So the tip would be, if you're about to embark on an exterior project and you do have mould present, the first thing that you want to do is get rid of the mould. And I'm not just saying let's just give it a wash down with bleach and kill it. What happens there is you're almost just kind of, when you see mould, or when mould is flowering, it's actually the flower of the spore that you see. And so if you're just wiping the top off, you're kind of still leaving the spore there. So you want to make sure that you're removing that spore, so it's going to help to prevent further mould. So a product that we have available is a product called Mould Action. Now this is a product by Flood, which is one of our products that exists within our portfolio of products, and it is fantastic. Now the first time that I used this product, I'll be honest, I opened it up and I expected it to smell like bleach. It doesn't. It's very safe to use, it's biodegradable, and as far as I know, it was originally developed for the Singapore market, where they have very high humidity and obviously mould is quite prevalent. So it is a fantastic product, and the way it works, so you can use it internally and externally. So you literally spray it onto the surface. You need to leave it for 24 hours, and then what you're going to see is when you come back, you're going to see, especially say interior in bathrooms, you're spraying it on the ceiling and you think, look, there's no mould there. After spraying this, I can guarantee you'll see little black spots, which is like those mould spores sort of coming out. And so this is fantastic. It's going to kill the mould spores. And then what you're going to need to do is use a product that's fit for purpose. So interior, I would recommend Taubmans Endure. It has NanoGuard technology, but it also has bacteria shield. So it has inbuilt mold inhibitors, which is really important. And same for your all-weather is what I would recommend for external usage. A brilliant, brilliant product. And it also contains, so it's got NanoGuard technology. Now you're wondering what that is. So when you put a standard paint film under a microscope that doesn't have NanoGuard technology, it has a one-size paint particle. And then when you put, say, Endure, or you're putting all-weather under a microscope, it has that one-size paint particle, but it also has a smaller paint particle that fills the airspace. So what it does, it creates an interlocking molecular structure. So pretty much, you know, it's going to help again to prevent mold as well. So Brittany, I would recommend that you use, and I'm going to just go to my laptop and hopefully it's all going to go the way I want it to go. And I'll pop myself up in the corner. Yes, we worked. Fantastic. Okay, so if you go to the first product you're going to need, and I've got an image of it here, this is what you're going to look for. It's called Mold Action. It's a pre-paint treatment. It is fantastic. I love this product. So that's what I would recommend. Now the next product product definitely I would recommend is our Taubmans all-weather. So go to, everybody watching, if you go to www.taubmans.com.au, you'll be brought to a landing page that looks like this. And you can see our very exciting 2024 colour forecast, and you can see here where you can subscribe to our Colour Together EDM, and you can, when you subscribe, you can order yourself, I'll send you a code, and that way then you can order yourself some of our sample pots for free. So you get 4 free sample pots, and I believe that you can actually order some of our wonderful new forecast colours. But if you come to the website, as I said, you'll be brought to a landing page that looks like this. If you hover your mouse across, we're going to hit products, and we're going to go to the drop down where it says exterior paints. This is the product that you want. It is amazing. So it has everything that you can imagine within this can of goodness. It is fantastic. It is a fantastic product. And when you use it outside, so NanoGuard technology also can be referred to as dirt shedding technology for exterior usage. So using this product outside, what it means is that it's a good rain or a good wash down with a hose, and it's going to help to remove dirt as well, because that's really important. Like when you're painting the exterior of your home, not only preparation is key, preparation's key to any job that you're doing, whether it be internally or externally, but once you have painted the exterior of your home, to ensure longevity of your product and your surface, etc., a good wash down is really, really important. So it's fantastic. The goodness that is in that can, it's designed for our conditions, whether you live in Tasmania or where it's cooler, or whether you're living, you know, like far North Queensland, etc., where it's really, really hot and where you're getting a lot of high humidity. So it's thermoplastic, designed to expand and contract. It is a brilliant product. So I think that is where I would begin my journey when I'm looking for exterior paint, and when I'm also looking for you know, preparation before I paint. So there's a couple of fantastic products there. I will come back onto the screen. Hopefully it works. Oh, wonderful. Okay, I do have another question. Okay, sorry, Brittany. Also some colours. Given that you're in, when I'm recommending colours, I think it's really important, and when you're looking to paint the exterior of your home, to make sure that your dwelling is going to sit really well within its surrounds. So, you know, for example, if you're coastal, I love to use sort of, you know, you could use beautiful sandy tones, or introduce some soft, beautiful blues, soft blue greys that are reminiscent of the surrounds. And then you know that the house is going to sit really well within that space. Also too, when you're looking to paint the exterior of your home and you're not sure where to start, have a look around what exists within the street where you live, and see, you know, what people are doing, because it's really nice to have a house that sits well within that space as well. You don't want the external facade, meaning your home, to stand out for the wrong reasons. I also recommend too going around and having a drive around your neighbourhood and having a look to see what appeals to you. So if you're about to build, for example, and you're unsure of whether you want to use a a light or a dark roof, drive around and have a look at the colours that you tend to gravitate towards. And that's a really good starting point, because it's really important that when you are looking for inspiration, that you take everything into consideration, and making sure that the colours that are going to go on the facade and the external roof, windows, whatever it may be, window frames, front door, etc., that you may be painting, making sure that you're going to have something that's going to sit and fit really well within the environment, but also ensuring that you're going to have a cohesive colour scheme. So that's where, when you're painting the exterior of your home, another good starting point is work out what is going to stay the colour that it already is, and work out what's going to change. So get yourself a little a little notebook or a piece of paper, draw up, what stays, what goes, and start to list the elements that exist within the external facade of your home. So you've got window frames, you've got things like whether the roof stays, whether your window frames stay, then you've got your guttering fascia, you've also got your eaves or soffits, and then the external facade, also taking into consideration, do you want to colour up a front door? And then, the fence, your fence line, are you wanting to introduce colour that way? And then also, the front fence on the external side, that street view that people can see, what are you wanting to do there? So once you start to list the elements that are going to be painted, and then you can start to work out where to begin, because it can be quite overwhelming. But if you work out what stays, and that's what can help you to build a colour scheme, because if you're working with a particular coloured roof, from that you can draw inspiration and then develop a colour palette for that. So there are a few little tips. That's what I always recommend to do, because that gives you a starting point. Okay, so I do have some more questions here. Okay, so sorry, Brittany, I better answer your question about colour. Okay, so, given that you're in a rainforest sort of area, you could go for very soft, muted, neutral style greys that have more of a green undertone. I think that could work really, really well. Obviously, you could introduce something that has a very soft green as well. So it depends. I mean, before I can give you an exact, if you want to come back to me, Brittany, and let me know what else exists. So what is the colour of your perhaps roof, the colour of your window frames, even the colour of your garage door. And that way then I can help to give you a fantastic colour scheme that's going to work really, really well. Okay, thank you. All right, my next question. Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you very much for joining us. So hi, I want to paint my stencil driveway is terracotta red, but I want to paint a different colour. Can it be done? But my stencil driveway has big gaps. I guess I probably need to know a little bit more about your driveway. So if it is stenciled, what already exists on the driveway? Because if it has a particular coating, I'm probably going to need to know a little bit more before we can recommend what sort of paint you could use. And then I can certainly help you. So if you can come back to me with a little bit more information, we can certainly help you. Thank you. Hi, Cassie. Thank you very much for joining us. So hi there. Do you have any advice for choosing lighter white exterior render colours when working with surf mist windows? I'm struggling to find something that will complement them. Roof is shale grey colour bond. Thank you. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so we have a colour bond shale grey. And then we have surf mist surf mist windows. So I do have the two colours here for those that are looking at home. We're lit up like a Christmas tree, so there is quite, oh, that's a bit better. You can probably see those two tones there. Okay, so we could look to, we could look to perhaps intensify surf mist a little bit. So I can give you a couple of colours that could potentially suit for you. But I've also got to work with, where are we? Okay, Cassie, thank you. Adding on, client wants a white cream garage door and front door is dark cherry wood. Glass upstairs has bronze glass. Client doesn't want to introduce more wood. Okay, so there is a lot that we need to take into consideration. So, okay, so looking at, I guess, taking everything into consideration. So you've got a dark cherry wood front door. So you've got bronze glass. A client wants a white cream garage door. Okay, so you could go this way, given that you have a shale grey roof and you have surf mist windows, you could introduce a surf mist coloured garage door as well. I think that would be quite nice. It's going to be cohesive, and I like to see when you're starting to work with elements, introducing a garage door and the same color windows. I think it works really, really well because you don't want to have too many elements that have too many colors. The rule of thumb, or something that generally works really well for an external facade for a color scheme, is to have perhaps 3, maximum 4 colors. If you start introducing more, it can start to look in some instances very busy. However, you can work with a monochromatic color scheme, and that's introducing similar sorts of tones, but whether it be a little bit darker, a little bit lighter. So I'm thinking that, Cassie, you could do a surf mist garage door that's going to match your surf mist windows. You've got shale grey. You could also, if you wanted to, for the external facade, use surf mist as well. I think that could work really, really well. That would be something that I would recommend. The other thing, just given that there's a lot happening, given the other colour, I'm just looking here to see if I can recommend another colour for you. I mean, there's another colour called, it's Taubmans Lunar Rock. And it's very, very similar to surf mist. It's just a little bit more intensified. So you're still going to get a very light facade. And it does sit really nicely with shale grey as well. I think that could work really, really well. So that's another option. And it's going to complement the dark cherry wood door as well. And let me just see if there's anything else that I think would work. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the best. I'm looking at some other whites here, but I'm just concerned with the cherry wood door, etc., whether it's going to all be cohesive. So have a look at Lunar Rock. It's Taubmans Lunar Rock, and see whether you think that's going to work for you. And then, or the other suggestion is, as I said before, you've got your shale grey roof. Do the facade surf mist. Do the garage door surf mist. Sorry, it will blend in. Or if you want the garage door to be a little bit more of a feature, a little bit more, let it stand out, stand on its own, so to speak, not just blend into the facade, you could do shale grey on the garage door as well. So that means that the shale grey is going to also be coming down from the roof. So it would work really, really well. I hope that helps. Please, if there's something else I can help you with, Cassie, pop something else into the feed and I'll be very, very happy to answer some more questions for you. Hi Mel, thank you very much for joining us. Sorry, I'm just reading all of these questions that are coming through. So we have a blonde brick house we are looking to paint white. Do you need to prime, or what product would you recommend? And secondly, any tips on choosing the right white? Thanks. Okay, so as I showed you before, I'm not sure whether you were on the session, Mel, or earlier. I had popped up on the screen a product called Taubmans All Weather. All Weather is a fantastic product. It is self-priming, so you could go that way. You could also use like 3-in-1 prior as well. But look, as I said, Taubmans All Weather is self-priming. So that's going to cover your bricks really, really well. The next thing I think is really, really important. So we talk, you're wanting some tips for when we select whites for external purposes. And I had prepared a lesson plan, and I was going to bring up on the screen talking about the LRV of a product the LRV of a color. The LRV is light reflectance value, which is really, really important when we start talking about whites for external purposes. So I wonder whether I should bring this up actually. Let me just see whether I can get let me go there. Let's do it. Okay, I'll pop myself up in the corner. So here we go. This is LRV, light reflectance value. So it's basically, as you can see on the screen there, 0 is black, 100 is white. So when you're starting and you're thinking of looking for a color for external purposes, and we're talking about whites in this instance, it's really, really important to understand how the white is going to work externally for you. So you want to ensure that it has enough substance, if you like, to be able to reflect a bit of glare. There is nothing worse than sitting outside first thing in the morning and you're sitting there and you need your sunglasses on because your white is just too white or too bright. So when I recommend whites, and I live in Queensland where we've got lots of sun, and I go for a morning walk with my dogs and I look at a strip of houses that are all white. Some of the whites are just, how do I put it? They're too bright. There's perhaps a little bit too much of a blue undertone and the sun gets on it and it is so glary, it's uncomfortable. So when looking for a white for external usage, there's a couple of things. If you look at, so you can see on the screen there, I would be looking for my white to be sitting anywhere between around about 65 to 75, pushing it to 80 max. And the reason being is, I'm going to come back on screen now. Anything less than that is, or anything higher than that, sorry, is too glary. It doesn't have enough. So let me just show you. So if anyone's familiar, one of the most popular colors for external usage at the moment is Colour Bond Surf Mist. That's the color there. When you put that outside, it is beautiful. I have that on my home and my house looks white, really white. But you know, if I were to put this up against a piece of, let me just show you now. I'll just grab a piece of white paper, something I should have prepared earlier, but I'm just going to do it right now. I've got a piece of white computer paper, and this is a really good trick. Before you go looking for your white, go armed with a piece of white computer paper, or look at the Taubmans colour wall for a colour called Brilliant White. So Brilliant White is our, dare I say, stock standard white straight out of the can. And the beauty of that is when you put other colours up against it, you get to see the undertone of your colour come to life. So everyone can see that there? I mean, no one can tell me that, but anyway, you can see that there, that Surf Mist, it's up against white. And you look at it and you go, okay, it looks like it's got a bit of tint in it, doesn't look white. But when you put it outside, it looks really white. And Surf Mist sits, I believe it's around about 67. So that's just to give you an idea. So when you're looking to begin your journey for exterior whites, visit our www.taubmans.com.au, click on colours, scroll down to the bottom. I should show you. I'm here now. Let's just do that. Okay, so I'm on Taubmans. I'm going to select paint colours. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom where it says order colour swatches. And here you can, where the search function is here, you can pop your colour name in here. Okay, so I'm going to pop Surf Mist in. Here it is. I'm going to click on it where it says view colour details, and you can see on the screen there against the white how, I guess you could look at it and you go, wow, it doesn't look white, but it's what happens when it goes outside is how it changes. So just clicking on that and going down to where it says LRV, so it's 66.97, so you could say 67. So this will give you all of your information around colours, so great place to start. I'll come back on screen. So the next thing that I think is really, really important is, and I talk about this every single week, but I'm going to be off screen for a while soon because we're going on holidays and we're concluding for the year, so I want to give you some tips. What you need to do when you're looking for whether it be interior colours or exterior colours is get yourself a sample pot. So hop down into Bunnings, and the reason I say that is I'm just going to use it as a reference. Go into Bunnings, talk to the friendly paint team members at the paint counter and ask them whether they have a spare palette liner that they can give you. So when our paint comes into store, it comes on pallets, and in between each layer of paint are large pieces of cardboard, which I'm referring to as palette liner. And then if you can acquire one of those, grab yourself a sample pot and then cut the piece of cardboard. You're going to want to have a metre by a metre square sample. Putting 3 coats of your sample pot, 3 coats of paint onto that piece of cardboard. First coat is going to aid as an undercoat, and then 2 top coats. Once dry, for external purposes, you're going to put it out into full sun without your sunglasses on, and then just see how it works for you within your environment. And then also to looking at that colour in areas where you're lacking a lot of natural light. And again, you're going to see how the colour is going to work you know, in areas that aren't as well lit. So you're going to understand how the colour is going to perform for you. And the same applies internally, doing the same as well. So ensuring that you test your colour. And in particular with whites will change. Look, all colours will change, but we're talking about whites at the moment. They will change under lighting, and it's really important. So view your colour. If we're talking about exterior colours, look at them outside. Don't look at them inside at the dining table with light on, because it's really not going to give you a true indication of how the colour is going to look. And the same for when you're looking at colours for interior. Look at them inside, don't look at them outside. Look at them inside, look at them in natural light, and also look at them in artificial lighting, so you can see how the colour is going to work in both situations. But you're going to put, here's your wall, here's your floor, pop your swatch of colour once the paint's dry, obviously, up against the wall, touching the floor. And that way, if you've got things like a beautiful timber floor, you'll see how the white's going to work. Sometimes things like timber flooring, etc., can warm the white up a little bit, so it's great that you can see and understand how it's going to work. If you've got, and I use this analogy all the time, if you have a red leather lounge, sometimes that white is going to look a little pink. And then also too, you've got your wall again, this time you've got your ceiling, putting the swatch on the wall, so this time it's touching the ceiling, and then seeing how it's going to work again in under artificial lighting, but also in natural light as well. So they're the best tips that I can give you. Sample pot your colours first to ensure that you're really happy with them, and in particular whites, because I understand how whites can change, especially in different environments and different lighting. Okay, so I hope that helps. Now let me just make sure I've given you, okay, so I've given you the tips and I've given you the product. Thank you very much, Mel. If you need any further information, pop something else to the feed and I'll be very, very happy to answer some more questions for you. Okay. Hi, Amna. Thank you very much for joining us. Excuse me. I have a 1950s red brick house and have terracotta colour tiles for the roof. We want to change the colour to a grey black. What would you advise? So you want to change your roof tile colour. Okay, so, and you have a red brick house. Okay, so look, I immediately think of something that perhaps has a little bit of a green, even though we're talking about greys, sort of more of a green undertone, because when you look at, I'll use a colour wheel for example. When you look at a colour wheel and you're looking at a particular colour, if you look at what sits opposite that on the colour wheel, it's generally going to work. It's called a complementary colour scheme. So that, I'm thinking that, you know, given that you have red brick, using something that has a greener undertone is going to work really, really well. And so I'm not necessarily talking about, you know, a bright or a dark green. I'm thinking about, because when you look at greys, the best way to describe greys is I like to pop them into 4 categories. So you have a grey that is brown based, so it tends to be known as greyish. You have a grey that has a red or purple undertone. You have a grey that has a blue undertone, which is a lot cooler. And then you have a grey that can have that green undertone. And I like to refer to that as being a neutral style grey. And generally, if you're starting a colour journey and you want to use grey, working with a grey that has more of a green undertone, that neutral undertone, is really easy to work with. And you'll find that lots of other colours work with it really, really well. So, but I'm thinking, you know, I'm using, as I said, talking about a colour wheel and looking at what sits opposite it. That's another tip for you at home. And you can look at colour wheels. You can Google a colour wheel, look at it online, and then you can start to understand what colours go with what. So I'm going to recommend for you, if you've got a, if you have a red brick house and you're wanting to paint the terracotta tiles, have a look at a colour called woodland grey. You can't really see the, I don't know whether you can see, when I put it up against white, you can really see, well I can, but bear in mind that we're lit up like a Christmas tree in here. It has a really nice sort of green undertone to it, and I know that's going to sit really, really well with your red brick. So that is where I would start. Certainly pop something else into the feed and I'll be very, very happy to give you some more advice if you'd like some further colours. Thank you. Okay, so John, thank you very much for joining our session. Can I paint over the reddish gutter colour with a bluey grey? You certainly can. Okay, so yeah, thank you. You've given me a little bit more here. So I'm not sure if that blends with our bricks, which are orange and yellowish. You could. So, and again, thinking about you've got an orange yellowish brick, I would probably go, you've hit the nail on the head there saying that a grey that's got that blue sort of undertone. So I think that's going to work really, really well. I mean, look, you can look straight away at your ColourBond colours. The reason that we look at ColourBond colours for things like roofing and guttering, etc., is that if you're painting and then replacing other guttering, etc., you can buy it already in that colour. But anyhow, I think wind spray would be a fantastic colour to start. It's a lovely grey sort of with that blue undertone, and I think that would sit really, really well. So have a look at wind spray. Other colours as well, given that we've got a beautiful bluey sort of grey to sit with a yellowy orangey brick. Where are we? What have I got here? You could have a look at another colour as well. This one's lovely. There's a Taubmans colour, Taubmans diesel engine, which is here. I think that would work really, really well given the brick tone as well. Okay, so, but please, if you're wanting some further information, pop something else into the feed and I'd be very happy to offer some further suggestions. I still have a few questions here to go through, and I will, I'm going to just take myself off screen now. Our half an hour in front of the camera streaming live has concluded, but I will be sitting back here for a further half an hour or so to continue answering questions for you. And if you do have any images or anything that you'd like to share with us to seek some advice, now is the time to pop them into our feed. But thank you very much, everybody, for joining our session this evening. Like I said, I'll be here for a further half an hour. And then we have a break next week. I'll be in Sydney at an event, and then the week after that will be our last Taubmans Live Colour Advice session for 2023. So it'll be a great chance for you, if you do have any further questions, to certainly join that session and pop them into the feed, because that will conclude the year. So thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Stay safe, and as I always say, happy painting. Good night.